Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a little bit of a interesting video here. So I haven't done a veterans react video in quite a long time. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello Dashi. And I I'll mention a little bit of like crypto in here just because it does track and to get the people watching. So crypto is coming. There is a track. There's a train of thought in my head. So I didn't yesterday when I saw the stuff about Katy Perry and these like seven women going up into space for I think it would equate it to like 11 minutes supposedly, um, and I'll get to that. But they had gone up to space for 7 minutes or like 11 minutes, and this is what people had to say. And this is on Facebook, so I feel like the people that are on Facebook are millennials and older. I don't think really any Gen Zs are on there, but they say that this one girl says the fact that the first all-female flight was for absolutely no scientific purpose is embarrassing, a total waste of fuel, and ridiculous that they think it's important. And I promise the veteran stuff does come in here in a bit. And this is a woman saying this. I don't know if I saw guys going in and really like kind of taking a crap on these women that were doing this. There's another girl that says, you can afford to go to space while others can't afford to survive. All you're doing is paying elitists to get richer. Why you get a while you get a 2 second joyride. We all love to explore space. It's not reality though. Plus, many who've worked for that haven't even gotten to go. It's just very strange to me. Are you aware or do you care what's happening in America? So I guess two trains of thought here. One, and again, they're both women. What happened to women supporting women? I don't know. Take on this. I'm not a scientist. I'm an investor, but I do love science. And how do things become cheaper for normal people? Back in the day, like going way back in the day, before my time, even in like the 70s, or yeah, like 70s. Like you know how much a calculator was? It was like $100 in like the 70s, and many years later in the 90s, early 2000s, it was dirt cheap, a couple dollars. And a couple dollars in like the year 2000 is much different than $100 in like the 70s. Anyway, what happens is that you have to have some of the more well-off people buy the inventions when they first come out. It happens with Teslas. It happens with iPhones. I remember it happening with like these big screen TVs that were like $5, $8, $10, $12,000 when they first came out. Who would pay that? Well, some people will. It creates jobs. It helps these companies take some of that money, putting it into R&D, put it into innovation, and they make things more efficiently. They make it cheaper for the rest of us to be able to have it for cheaper, which is great. You know, DVD players and the DVDs that came with it was a little more expensive at first, and then it became cheaper. Same thing with these flat screens. Same thing with cell phones, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why rich people get to do these fun things at first because they're the testers for it. And I would much rather go to space after 50,000 missions have been flown as opposed to being one of the first people to go, where arguably there's a lot more risk. A lot more could go wrong. But you know, that's just me wanting things to be safer. And then I understand where this other person is coming. And I think these people are, one is just, I get it. It's not for like wasn't for science. And again, because they weren't doing scientific stuff, doesn't mean that Jeff Bezos and everyone else didn't use that to further science as well. So again, I don't really like that argument. The other person's like, hey, you're going to space while other people can't afford to survive. Okay, Miss Lady, what are you doing to go in and like, could they have taken that money and helped the homeless and they helped the hungry? Sure, but you know, feed a person for a day, like what they're helping in this industry will likely create more jobs in the future, and it will likely create to overall GDP. And I get it. It's like, okay, well, I don't care about people that work on spacecraft, people that go on these space, but those people that go on, like the person that fills the fuel, that's a job. The person that not even makes the rocket, makes the parts that the engineers use to make the rocket. That's it. The people that truck those things in, like it's all part of an ecosystem. and you're supporting a lot of jobs by doing that. So I get the younger bleeding heart liberals that are just like, why do this when you could do this? Again, I understand that, but that's how you help this. A rising tide raises all ships. Where I get the veteran reacts comes in is where the people that, well, one, there's people that are just like, well, we've never been to space. We've never, and don't get me wrong, there's like, I forget what astronaut it was that has said in multiple interviews that Neil Armstrong, we've never been to space. Nope, we never did. We never been to the moon. And it's like, is he trolling? Is he joking? I don't know. But again, there's the people that are just like, we've never been to space ever. It's impossible. It's like, okay, whatever. Leave that argument out there for whoever. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to be able to argue that in a tactfully or eloquent way. But I have worked around in the military dozens of aircrafts, from the small C-12s to the C-130s, C-135s, KC-10s, C-17s, civilian aircraft, 747, to the C-5s, that are just every single door of every aircraft that I have worked with was pretty heavy. Like they were like, they had weight to them, like a good weight where you have to, use some might to bring them through. There were 7 women in this aircraft thing, and it looked like when they were about to open this door, and I think what likely happened was the lady and Jeff Bezos were like, oh, no, you don't open the door. We're going to open the door. We're going to get the shot. It's going to be for cinematic value. It's going to be for production value, like whatever it is. This is what I'm just guessing, right? But the women that were in here seemed to just like kind of jar open that door pretty quickly and pretty easily. Now, again, you can't see exactly how much effort because they're on the other side. But yeah, it seemed to have done that. And I could even show you a video. So like a couple seconds into this video, you see it open. Like you see it open from the inside. And the lady's like, no, let's not do that right now. And they tell them to close it. And then they go and open. And now, again, I'm just assuming that they do it for some type of, like production value where they want to get, the camera shots. Or maybe it looks kind of weird, and how flimsy that door seemed, like a screen door or an opening door. Again, that's just the way it seemed. So that's the veteran's reaction point of view is, I would say that Jeff Bezos has technology. Like, again, he's one of the richest people in the world. Arguably, he works with probably some of the smartest people in the world. Maybe there's some type of material where, yeah, it's metal based, but it's got aluminum on the end, but you take some mercury to be able to, or whatever they replaced mercury with thermometers in, you break that open, put that on aluminum, that breaks down aluminum, and maybe it's easier to move. Like you have the heft of the metal, but there's not a lot of, it's malleable and it takes some of the weight off. I don't know how he did it, but maybe there's this technology that the door can be pressurized and can handle the force of the explosion of the inertia to get out of the atmosphere going into space, and can handle going back down, and maybe it's just some type of new technology that nobody's aware of or they care about, or maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't real. I mean, I think there's footage of them from out there, and supposedly when you're up in space, wars seem so silly, and they seem so petty, and apparently that's what these women saw. And Katy Perry like kissed the ground when she had come back out. There was even a meme I saw. It's like, well, these 2 scientists that were trapped up in space for 8 months looking at Katy Perry kiss the ground when she was on the flight for like 8 minutes, and they were like glaring at her. But yeah, even someone on TikTok says, I think these are AI experiments. They're trying to see what is believable to us. Something bigger is probably planned to deceive us, question everything, and crazy conspiracy theories, which very well might be true. I'm more of just that believer that. But anyway, I said this is going to bring this crypto, and I am. Clearly, when you have something that should be pretty amazing that happens, there's a whole lot of stuff. And I'm not saying some of these people are wrong, where like, oh, maybe it's fake. Maybe it is. I don't know. It looked real to me, but again, maybe it is. And again, that door was definitely suspect. something was really interesting about that. But I saw a post the other day about this guy who was, the video was of today, but it was about this guy that was mining Bitcoin in 2011. He mined exactly 1 Bitcoin per day. And there were people in this time, in 2025, that were just crapping all over Bitcoin. Before I get to that, here's that meme from before that I wanted to show y'all. Thought that was great. All right, anyway, back to the Bitcoin guy. So I don't know if these people were living in a cave the last 15 years. This one guy's like, yep, still don't get it, talking about Bitcoin. Another guy says, won't last, it's man-made crap. If you want to invest in something, gold is the thing. It's been around since the day of dawn, will always have value. Somebody else says, and to date, it's chewed up millions of kilowatts of power and provided no utility still. Well, utility, it's the first of something. I mean, like, what do collectibles have? Like there's nothing that you get for, I mean, when I bought this fig pin, it actually came with a digital collectible. Same with VeVe. Actually, this one did not come with a digital twin, but what I'm talking about is, what is the point of anything? Like there's no utility for Dashi. I mean, you know, cool stuff, but there's no utility for most tokens out there. Most tokens out there, like 99.9%, do not have utility. There's OMI, there's DEVVE, there's DEFINITY, there's like daCAT, there's SHIRO, there's like the top 10 or some of the top 100, but there's how many hundreds of thousands of tokens out there, and none of them have utility, or most of them have none. So it's just a gross misunderstanding of where value comes from for a lot of these people. So this tells me that retail is not in yet. This tells me that a lot of the people that are likely to be in Bitcoin just are not in yet. They don't understand the technology, and they won't really need to. Like, what do people know about gold? Oh, it's valuable. It's gold. It looks pretty. Well, I mean, it's valuable because it's scarce. It's valuable because it has uses. There's gold that can be made in computers. They used to make gold fillings. Now I think silver has or now it's not even silver. It's different now for fillings. But there's just practical uses to it, and you know, that's why it was valuable. But if I give you $1 million worth of gold, try to move that. And I don't mean like in one giant brick. I'm probably gonna be in several bricks, but try to move it. Try to move it just from state to state. That's a lot to move, and it's very expensive, and you're gonna get taxed up the wazoo. And like Bitcoin, and not even just anything. It's like, people like to talk about crypto as like, oh yeah, this has cross-border payments. Every crypto is cross-border payments. You give someone from Canada, the US, whatever, it's doable. But yeah, that's the thing that gold just doesn't have. Like, yeah, you could, I remember in 2014, there was a train of, I think, German gold going through Ukraine. They're going through that civil war, and it got hit. $100 million of gold gone. I have an idea of who did it. But anyway, for Bitcoin, like there's no chance of like, okay, this Bitcoin's going on this train from here to here. It's on the Midnight Express. Like there's no chance of that getting hit. It's just boom to boom, and it happens relatively quickly. Now with DEVVE, it would happen in seconds. Link down below for the DEVVE exchange. Gotta plug my stuff. But yeah, that blow off top, and again, I'll try to bridge these by saying, like, you have something that Jeff Bezos is doing. Katy Perry happens to be doing it with 6 other successful women, and good for them. And you have people that don't understand it. In that same breath, you have Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that is just blockchain in general, NFTs in general. These are like the future of our worlds, these real world assets. And people still don't understand. Like Will Smith said it best, like parents just don't understand, but a lot of these people, a lot of these newbies, a lot of these normies, they just don't understand the technology. They have a gross misunderstanding of where value comes from. And yeah, like, why do I have this little tiger duck thing? It's cool. Why do I have 1,600 collectibles on VeVe? Because it's cool. They're cool. They're fun stuff. They're nice to look at. They're fun to play with. Yeah. Anyway, so I know the bear market has kind of made everything a little wacky for people, and it's rough, you know, going down. You know, the only thing that's reached like all-time highs, I think, was like Solana and like Bitcoin, like that's it. And I know there's a couple others that I'm just not remembering right now. Not that important to me. Altcoin season will happen. You're probably going to have the Fed cut rates, an end of the trade war, an end of the Ukraine and Russian war, and then when that happens, yeah, sure, you'll get the you'll get that blow off top. Maybe they all happen at once. Maybe they happen separately. It's going to be great, guys. I can't wait. Everyone, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. And everyone say goodbye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you all. Class dismissed. Goodbye.